That was a great set. Thank you so much, Gaslight Tinkers. That was a fabulous set to have on sessions. First off, could you introduce yourselves to the viewers watching?
Wow, but each of us say our name.
I'm Joe Fitzpatrick.
I'm Garrett Sawyer.
I'm Peter Siegel.
I'm Josie Tony.
And kind of start off, can you tell me a little bit about the history of the band, how you guys got started?
Well, 6 years ago, Garrett and I got together at Greenfield Coffee, and we said, Garrett had played with the Alchemistics for years and lots of other bands around the valley. I played a lot of folk music around the valley for years, a lot of fiddle tunes and singer-songwriter stuff, old-time music and all that stuff. And I went to Garrett and I said, we were friends, and we recorded together and stuff like that. Garrett owns North Fire Studios, so I kind of know him through his studio work too. And I said, I really want to do music that reaches more people and is really joyful and cross-genre, but is not cross-genre, like overlaying genres on one another. Garrett really cut his teeth playing a lot of calypso in Trinidad, and I'm part of the sort of New York folk proletariat. And so we sort of brought a lot of these influences together. And the configuration of the band when we first started was Zoe Darrow, who many in the Valley I know, really, really wonderful fiddler. Many of you know her. And Dave Noonan, who's also a Valley fixture in a lot of different bands. And we were later joined by Joe Fitzpatrick of Trailer Park fame and lots of other things. So we're sort of like a Valley band. We're such a Valley band. And then we have a fiddler that we sometimes play with, called Audrey Knuth. And then Josie moved to Boston to go to school there recently. Turns out that many years ago,
Right.
in the West Coast, we were at a fiddle festival together, and Josie was 12, and I was 13. No, I was actually like 25 or something like that, 26, 27.
You look
and
exactly the same.
same. So did she. No, that would have been really freaky. But no, but Josie was a great fiddler back then, and asked me to accompany her on a concert that she did at this fiddle festival. And so when I saw her, I knew her at a festival last year. And it was really weird. So he said, hey, you want to just come and join the band occasionally? And she said,
Yes.
So that's the short.
Such a cool story. So do you have anything in the works as far as maybe a new record or
Yes.
any plans coming up?
A couple things. We have a new record coming out in the summer for sure, which has been in the works for a couple of years. And we're going to be touring a lot this summer with a calypso singer named Chocolate Allen. She's coming up from Trinidad in about a month. And so we're going to be doing Falcon Ridge and Old Songs Festival. We have a bunch of gigs in the Valley over the summer that we're going to be doing at Hawks and Reed and up in Brattleboro. So you'll be seeing us doing a lot more calypso mixed with this music as well over the summer. So that's kind of our plan for the next few months.
One thing I really enjoyed is the interplay between all the different instruments, especially on some of the more kind of jammier pieces. How do you guys go about kind of rehearsing that?
A lot.
Is it difficult?
No, I think,
A lot of it just sort of happens live, and then we kind of turn it into a thing and rehearsal later.
yeah.
There's a lot of improvisation that happens like in the obvious melody instruments, but also between Garrett and Joe. Like they just kind of like come up
Yep.
with grooves and yeah.
Yeah, and also what happens with us is that we also play a lot of dances. We play contra dances sometimes, and so for us that is kind of like a 3 or 4 hour jam. We're just playing fiddle tunes, and so a lot of the ideas that come out of our performances come out of just jamming for dancers when they're barely paying attention to us. They're just sort of using our music as a utility, and it's really wonderful because it frees us up to kind of try things out. So we'll go and do dance weekends all across the country, spend whole weekends just jamming on the kinds of tunes that we did here, but it's not performance, it's just for people dancing.
Well, the other thing about the contra thing is that we play the same tune a lot of times in a row, because that's how the dances
Usually
work.
about 12.
About 12. And we
So
have
out
to
of
keep it
boredom?
interesting. Well, no, but it sort of forces us to
You do, yeah.
create different treatments for the tune as we go to kind of like create large scale dynamics and just sort of like different changes and everything. And through that, we come up with a lot that then we sort of like refine and condense and bring into a live show.
Yeah.
Well, that's very cool. I mean, it seems like you have those two aspects to when you're playing live, like doing the contra dances and then just doing like normal kind of tours or everyday gigs. So, is there a big difference between those type of performances, or what goes into it?
Yes.
Country have a lot more lights on.
Yeah, country doesn't have lights, no drinking, and
Yeah, that's weird.
lights, no drinking, right? And you know, we're really just jamming. You know, whereas when we play for an audience, we interact with the audience quite a bit more, and they're singing. So we do half singing, half
Yeah.
jamming, and that's the big difference.
In contra dance, they're dancing, but they're not really listening to you. They're listening to the caller who's teaching the dance, or they're talking to each other.
I like to think they're kind of listening
They
to
are,
us.
but that gives you the freedom to,
Yeah.
do some weird stuff.
They're not
Hopefully they won't
scrutinizing you as
notice.
As long as we keep the beat, they're happy.
Yeah.
Last question. Do you guys have any shows coming up? Maybe May, June?
In May, locally, we have one. Well, in.
I have to look at our
locally.
calendar.
No, we have. Well, I guess this will be coming out in May. We probably will be doing something in July. We are doing something in July at Hawks and Reed. July 6th, I believe, at Hawks and Reed. We're splitting the bill there. And I know we're going to be doing something at the Stone Church later in July in Brattleboro. And well, some outdoor stuff, and then of course there's Falcon Ridge and Old Songs, which are happening during the summer as well. So,
Okay. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate your performance today. It was great.
thank you so much for having us.